Hello, ardent learners. Welcome back again to another video. So, today I'm going to talk about an interesting topic. So, suppose if you're someone who are wondering, how can I do a review of literature very easily because I do not know how to do a review of literature. You might be in your master's or you might be doing your PhD or anything. If you're really wondering, how can I make it more simple? So, I have come up here to help you out to know what are the easiest way or the tools that are available to organize your review of literature and outline your dissertation or your thesis? So I'll be talking in this video how to organize your review of literature and outline your thesis breakdown or your dissertation in detail. So come along with me, and this is Caroline Green from Biotechnica. So with no more delay, let's get started to the video. So when you're in your master's or when you're in your PhD, you might be definitely has to write a thesis or your dissertation. But during that initial step is definitely going to be you'll be coming up with a question and you used to go and search a lot of research papers. So today in this video, I'll be talking how you can organize your review of literature, and I've divided this section into three things. Like the section 1, I'll be talking about how to search your research paper and read your scientific papers a bit faster. And the second one, how to format the structure of your review of literature. This is very important. If you are going to search for a title and you got your paper, you have to read the paper in a faster way. Suppose there are going to be 60 papers available. You have to read all the papers, or do I have to read only the summary? I'll be talking in it. And the second one is going to be how you can structure your review of literature. And finally, if you are a PhD student, you have to write your thesis, which is, I'll be talking about your thesis breakdown. What are the chapters? If you are master students, you'll be writing your dissertation. So I'm going to tell you, watch out the video completely, because I'm going to tell you many things for all of you, because I am going to tell you some tips and tricks to read any sort of research papers or serve your research papers a bit faster. So let's move on to the first section, which is how to search and read your scientific papers. Yes, suppose I'll be talking about all these things in detail. So I'm going to take you to the first section, which is going to be how to search. So here there is going to be 4 steps I have given, which means this one I've just excluded. This can be added to a Chrome. So I'm going to tell you what are the definite things that you need to have as a researcher, whether as a master's researcher or as a PhD student. First thing, you need to know about something called as Open Knowledge Map. So this is the link, very important. All of you, please take a screenshot, or all of you write it down. This is the most important thing if you're going to be a researcher. And the second thing, I'll be talking about insightful. And the third thing, which is already dealt in your research tools for a researcher, you need to know is Zotero. So I'll be talking about this. And the fourth important thing is ScholarC. And the next important thing is Science Research Assistant. So I'll be talking, this is actually downloadable. You can download Zotero in your laptop also. The first are going to be online available. Insightful is online available. ScholarC is online available. Science Research Assistant, you can actually add it to your Chrome. As an extension, you can add it because it's going to tell you some words if you're not going to understand it. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the Open Knowledge Map, and I'm making you to understand what is this tools are going to helpful for, because you have to search the appropriate paper and you have to read the paper and you have to correlate. Suppose there are 60 papers. You have to, suppose if I'm typing COVID-19. So what exactly happened? There are many papers which are available, but if I want to analyze the asymptomatic nature of COVID-19, so what exactly I have to do? I have to take papers which are related only to that, not about COVID-19, which talks about the drugs or discovery, everything. I literally wanted only the specific part. So what I will be doing, I will be going to the Insightful, which used to connect papers, and Zotero will tell me the bibliography arrangement, because taking a reference and arranging it in one platform is very difficult as a researcher. So I'll be talking about it. And ScholarC is something which make your research papers in a very concise way. Suppose if you have some 4 or 5 papers of your research, it will tell you what is the crisp detail of the complete paper. So I'll be talking about ScholarC. And the last important thing, In scientific technology we would not be understanding most of the words. So if you add this to your Chrome extension, definitely you can understand what is the word exactly means. So I'm going to take you to the website and I'm going to talk about the complete detail how you can review all your papers and arrange it properly. So let's get started to that also. So come along with me. So this is going to be the open knowledge maps. Yes, this is the website. You can go and you can literally find here. There are two things that you can actually see. One is going to be the PubMed. Another one is going to be the base. So what I'm going to do is, since we are life science students, I'm going to check it in the PubMed. You can go to Google Scholar and look for a paper. Here you can go to PubMed and look for a paper. But this is a version which makes all the things linked together. So I'm going to put only COVID-19 here. So let me type COVID-19 and it will take some time for me to get all the research papers that are related to COVID-19. You're going to see the entire map which is given here. So this is the map and here you're going to see different areas of COVID-19. For example, let me take acute respiratory diseases, asymptomatic carriers and coronavirus disease 2019. And suppose if my area of research is basically based on this, suppose if anybody wants to go for data analysis or synthetic vaccine, you can take up any of these areas of your interest. For now, I'm just choosing this one. So it will just show you what are the papers that are available. Suppose let me show another one. Here there are 3 papers available. So for now, I'm going to take up this asymptomatic one. So here I have literally many papers. So what I'm going to do is here, this app is definitely going to tell you, open knowledge map is definitely going to tell me what are the papers that are open access. So which means I can download in the form of a PDF. You can actually download in the form of PDF and you can start reading the paper. It's an Elsevier paper you're going to have. So you can start reading your paper very easily. So it will give you open access as well as the other which is there. If you want to know more about it, you can just go to this. And it is any I have clicked. If you want to go for only open access book, you can check on to open access research paper. So for now, what I'm going to do is, since I'm going to be very specific area is going to be acute respiratory diseases, asymptomatic carrier, I have taken this and I'm going to see this one. So what you can do is you can literally copy this one. So you can copy this one. And then what you can do, you can go to the next one and see. So this is going to make your research area more concise. Suppose there are going to be many research papers. So what exactly will happen is, if I don't want to read all the COVID-19 research papers, I'm going to very specifically go to a specific area of interest and I will be selecting papers. And if it is open access, then you can download in the form of PDF and you can read it. Now for our understanding, what I'm going to do is, you can take it from Google Scholar and you can do it, or PubMed you can do it. But this is the most easiest way I found. So it is going to be very easy. The next one, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take you to another website which I was talking about. So that website is definitely going to be insightful. The second one I told you, which usually connects paper. So what I'm going to do is, this is a tool which accelerate your research. So you can type your paper here, like if you know DOI, or if you have searched some paper in your PubMed, you can paste it here and you can find out the research paper also. So what I'm going to do is, suppose there are many papers that we have seen through this open knowledge maps. Like I have seen almost some 6-7 papers which are related to the area of my interest. So what I'm going to do is, I am specifically going to choose some 2 papers and I'm going to check whether those 2 papers are linked, or you can paste many of the papers and you can find out what is the link between them. So what I'm going to do, the first paper, I'm going to paste it over here and let me choose the second paper for now and let me paste this link also over here. So this is the second paper. Now I'm going to check whether these 2 papers, you can find select 2 papers and you will show how the literature connects them together. You can find out what's the correlation between the 2 papers, because when you go in for your references, we used to write the references that you have taken sources from all the papers. So you can go to this one and if you're gonna search it, definitely you are gonna get the complete insightful of this one. You can literally see how these 2 papers are related. Actually, this is one paper. So this is that paper which I have taken, and this is the second paper. This is the second paper that I have taken, and there have been a correlation between these 2 papers they've been talking about. You can literally zoom and check the authors, everything will be given here. What is the status and what are the authors that's been linked here, everything. So below this, if you're going to see here, I have written only 2 papers. You can literally see the similarity between this one and the distance, everything will be given. And this is about two papers if you want to go and analyze it. So what's going to be the similarity? It's going to tell you. Suppose if you're someone who wants to know about COVID-19 directly. So what I'm going to write is I'm going to type in for COVID-19 directly, and I will get all the papers here. So here also you can find out the link between different research papers. So let's stay on for some time and we will get it back. So in this insightful, I have just typed two papers and we have correlated, and I'm going to show you one map which is actually given here, which is going to give you a very good idea about this one. See, this is the first paper that I've chosen from that one open one, and here also there's another paper. So from the open knowledge maps, I have pasted two papers and I'm comparing this. You can literally see here, I'm going to zoom it a bit for all of you. So these are people who have cited their papers. These are people who have cited their papers. So you can literally see, like, this is the paper which has been cited by these many people. This person has cited this one, and you can see there are so many people who have cited this paper, like this paper along with this paper, which means these two papers are correlated with these many papers, which means I have chosen only two papers, but those two papers are correlated by these many people because these many people have cited these two papers, which means I can look for these papers also. I can look for, which means from two papers I am going to find out a lot of papers which is available about COVID-19 asymptomatic. Whichever I want, I can actually segregate. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one paper from here and I'm going to link with this and go to the graph and check. So what's the correlation? It's going to give me what are the similar papers between this. So what you can do is the above paper and the below paper which I have chosen, and there are many papers which correlates between these two papers. Whichever paper is very appropriate for you, what you can do, you take that paper along with another paper and you can see the similarity. You can see. So literally you can see this paper has been cited by so many people. So many people. You can see it here. This has been cited. So this is the paper which we have choose. This is another paper. So these two papers are cited by so many people. So what you can do, you are looking for two papers, but now you got so many papers here. So you can click onto that paper and you can go in for the similarity also. Now let me show you the most important thing about this one is the most loved part of this is it is not only going to show only that two papers, all the papers. So it's going to show you how much similarity here. Like 2.7 for similarity and how much is the citation. All the papers will be available in all the pages. And the most lovely thing is what are the most important papers they are also telling. Most important papers. So you can choose. You can just have to click onto this and you can go and find out those things. And the top authors. So you can also select the papers based on the top authors. And you can also select the most important recent research paper is also available. So I'm going to tell you this is definitely going to be helpful, insightful. So what I have done previously, I have just taken two papers from open knowledge maps, whichever I'm interested. You can take it from Google Scholar or you can take it from PubMed, but this was more easy for me. So after that, we just went into the insightful and we were talking about the most similar papers. And now what we can do is we can go and save all the papers. Like for now, I have found many papers. I can download whichever paper I want. I can look into it, similar papers, popular papers, and I can start reading. But now I should not miss these references. So I have to save these references. So what you have to do is you have to go to Zotero. So this Zotero is readily available. You can download for your Mac, Windows. So you just have to click on to the download and you can download for your Windows. Usually for your Windows, you can do it, or for your Chrome also you can do it. So I have downloaded version of this Zotero for all of you. So I'm going to show you that one. So how you can actually go for this. So this is the downloaded version in our laptop. So here you're seeing my library. So in this my library, what you can do, you can actually add manually all the information, which is a bit tough, or this is going to be through the connector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some DOIs from any of the paper. Let me show you this one. Initially, I was talking about this paper. So here you can find a DOI here. So what I'm going to do is I want these references to be paste over there. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to the Zotero app which I have installed and I'm going to paste it here. Just paste it over here and then you can just click on to enter. And now my references will be saved here. You can check over my references are saved here. Like this, you can paste your references one by one so that you won't miss your references at any point of time. So you can either use manually and do it. Usually manual things are very difficult. So better you can go for this one, and you can just literally paste it so that all your references will be in one place. So you won't miss your references, because this problem usually happens. So Zotero is a wonderful app which actually stores all your references. So you can also do another thing. You can actually go to this new collection which I'm showing it here. If you go to new collection, you can just type like COVID-19, you can type, and you can have a folder also. I'm just typing COVID here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take everything from library and I'm going to pull it and paste it to this COVID. Everything will go into this one. So if you want to go in for this one, you can just paste all the things into this. Even if you want more subsections, you can go for it, and you can type introduction or whatever you want to add some paper very specifically for introduction separately, or for the methods, methodologies, if you want to add, you can add the papers here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste one of these things to introduction. So if I'm going to click on to library, you will see all the things whichever is available, and COVID-19 very specifically those things, and introduction whatever you're going to add, you can paste it here. So Zotero is a wonderful way when you're going to do a review of literature, paste all the references as you do it simultaneously. So this is another way. Now the most important thing is you got the papers. By using open knowledge, you have found papers, and by using what we have talked about in insightful, we've got the link of papers, connection, the network of papers, and through Zotero we have pasted all the references also. And the next important thing, I want to read all the papers faster. So what you can do is you can literally go to ScholarC, and you can go to this ScholarC and you can try it out. Suppose if I'm pasting this one of the paper, you just have to upload the paper, or wherever it is you can just paste, and then summarize into flashcards. It's going to make your research paper kind of very faster, because you cannot read all the research papers in a moment. So you can see it is going to give you login to save, or you can download it also. So if you're going to download it, you will get the most simplified version of this paper. That's an amazing thing for you. So you can open this Microsoft Word, which will be available in this format also. You can literally see the paper is in a very, very concise form. They have given the most smallest version of everything will be given in this paper. So by doing the ScholarC, you can literally get the concise or the crisp or the essence of the complete paper. You don't have to read the complete paper. So ScholarC is definitely going to make reading a paper a bit faster. So remember, so I've been talking about the 4 important things that you can follow. The most important thing that I was talking about is, suppose let me go to this paper and show you. So now let me just paste one of the paper, and let's go and understand how. Suppose if I don't know some words, how can I find it? So let me make it an assumption that I do not know the meaning of this. So what I can do is I literally have to right click and find out the meaning of this one. If you have installed Science Assistant Research, so you just have to go and type Science Assistant Research or Research Assistant. So this is like an extension for your Google Chrome. So I have already added this. You just have to click on to add to Google Chrome extension. So it will be added automatically like Grammarly we used to have. The same way. So if you add that, and if I don't know the meaning of this science search, if you're going to click onto this, it's going to tell you the meaning of this one, definitely. So which means whichever words or methodology or procedures, if any word, if you don't know, you just have to click onto this. And if you go and search for Science Research Assistant, it's going to tell you the meaning, complete detail of this one. So the first important thing is, today we have talked about how we can search and read a research paper faster. So we know how to open a knowledge map and find out the papers of our research interest, and go to Insight and find the connections between the papers, and Zotero will help you to maintain all your references, and ScholarC will make you to read all your research papers in a very faster way. And Science Research Assistant will help you to find out some words which you do not know. So this is going to be the most important thing when you're going to do your review of literature findings. First thing you have to do is know about all this thing. The next second session is going to be how can I arrange the review of literature structures. This is most important. So first we'll be talking about the introduction, how you can do the introduction. I'll be talking in detail. And the second is theme 1 and theme 2. So we have divided section 2. Section 1, we have now got all the papers, references, we have studied everything. Now how we have to format this one. So introduction, theme 1 and theme 2 we have given. So in introduction, what are the things you have to do? So in introduction, you can see first you have to describe the topic and its relevance. Most important, what topic you have to write it, and you have to write the relevance to that field. The second important thing, you have to have developments and themes. The second is going to be theme 1 and theme 2, I told you in the second section. So developments and themes in research questions, what are the technique you're going to go, what are the process, what are the findings, that everything has to be highlighted in your introduction. You don't have to put all the contents, but you have to highlight what you're going to say it in the second one. And then summary of the research literature, complete summary, very easy summary of what you have done, what you're going to talk about it. You have to put it in your research literature. So remember, in the introduction, you're going to talk about the topic and all the highlights of this one. And the third is the summary of the review of literature. These three things definitely you have to include in section number 2 after finding your research papers, your references, everything. This is the format. We are talking about the format. How can you format? First is introduction. So our introduction is done, topic with the summary. The second is going to be in the second section, which is formatting theme 1. In theme 1, what are the things you have? Very simple. Theme 1 is about findings. Whatever findings we are going to do, all the findings from the papers you have studied, you have to highlight those things. So theme attributes, you can talk about the differences that you have seen in the papers, or commonalities or nuances concerning the topic. Everything you can write it here. Under this, you can also make divisions like sub-theme and sub-theme 1 and sub-theme 2. Here you can write all the collection of your informations from all the research papers, but it should be very, very well organized, and it's related to the main theme. This is the main theme. Theme 1 is the main theme. Suppose if you're talking about the COVID-19 asymptomatic conditions, you can divide into 2 sub-themes. Some of the papers which talks about certain contradictory thing, some of the papers which talks about another contradictory things. You can do that. So, but everything has to be correlated to the asymptomatic nature. So you can write study 1 about a paper. You can write research question, methods, participants, relevant findings. You can talk about the second, some of the studies which are correlated. You can put the same thing, study 3. And always remember, if the procedures are going to be same, you don't have to put all those things here. Just leave it as if it is mentioned previously. And in the second section, you can also brief about well-grouped findings relevant to this sub-theme number 1. So first is going to be your introduction in your review of literature. Second is about the findings of different papers. You can divide them into sub-theme 1 and sub-theme 2. So based on the studies, you can correlate 2 of these things. It is up to you to decide whether you want a sub-theme or you're going to put all the things together. The next comes the theme 2. So in the theme 2, what you're going to do is understand it. Introduction, you have done what you're going to talk about it, your topic, your summary, your highlights, your development, everything. And in the second one, your theme, you're going to talk about the findings of all the papers along with the questions and all the methodologies. And here in theme 2, which is we are talking about the format of the review of literature, succeeding themes. What are the findings? What is the success of this one? And finally, you're going to conclude all your research papers, which finally concludes based on that. You're going to tell this paper literally talks about this, another paper. And finally, you're going to give a conclusion. And here you can literally talk about the overall contribution of the complete literature. If you're going to talk about a COVID-19 asymptomatic situation, whatever the paper is talking about, you might have mentioned in the theme 2. Here in theme 1, in theme 2, what you can do, a complete summary of the entire thing, you're going to put it here. What are the strengths that you are going to see it here? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses that you discovered through the papers? What are the things? What might be missing? This is your point. This is the thing that will make you to think. What is potentially missing? Yes, of course, the strength, the weaknesses. What is actually missing, which can be a research for you? And can this study can be used for further other studies also? That's going to be the next thing. What are the next steps that can be done for a research? What do you want it to do for the next research? The next step should address explicitly how the gaps and weaknesses can be corrected. This is where you actually take up the point. You will find out the weakness of the research papers, whatever papers which has not dealt some sort of problems. You're going to take that and then you're going to take it forward through your research, through the review of literature. So in review of literature, we talked about the introduction, the topic, the summary of the complete papers. And in the theme 2, theme 1, you're literally going to talk about all the findings of different studies, the protocols, everything. And in theme 2, you're going to talk about the weaknesses, the strengths, and what is missing, everything, and what can be done further, everything you're going to talk about in case of theme 2. This is how a review of literature structure has to be there, or format has to be there. So you found out how to do a research review, and the second is the structure, and the third is you're going to do your thesis breakdown or your outline of your dissertation. Yes, of course, we know about introduction. Now we have done everything. Now we are going to put, you have done your research and you're going to write your thesis breakdown or your outline of your dissertations. So after your research, you would be knowing all this thing. What is the background of the problem, which means whatever problem that has been missed in the research paper, you would have done as an experiment, or if you are writing a review of literature and you wanted to convert into a thesis, you can do this also. And you can take up the problem. What are the financial implications? What's the purpose of the study that you have carried out? Suppose if they have not dealt with some of the things, you will be taking it and doing it in your experiment. And why do you do so? What is the importance of it? What do you find a solution to the problem? And what are the questions, research, hypothesis, and everything you will write. And these are going to be the scope of study. What is your study going to talk about? What assumption you had made, your hypothesis, what are the limitation you have come across also, and what is going to be your summary. That you will put it in your research paper. After your review of literature, after your experiment in your laboratory, you're going to carry out all the problems and you find a solution and you're going to add up all these points. And the second, of course, you will talk a little bit about your review of literature and theoretical framework. Yes, you will write about your conceptual framework, your research design. What are the methods you used? Suppose if you have done some survey, you will talk about the sample size, analysis, techniques, methodology, what are the instruments you used, what are the pilot testing and data analysis and participant, and finally the most important thing is ethical consideration. So in the third section, you're going to talk about the theoretical framework. So you have collected research papers and then you know how to frame only the review of literature. First thing you have to do is review of literature. After your review of literature, you will perform your experiment. After you perform your experiment, you're going to write your thesis. So in the thesis, you have written your introduction and you have already framed a review of literature. You're going to put it as the second chapter. And the third, you will talk about your methodology, your data analysis, your interpretations, your participants, ethical consideration, everything. And then you will talk about the complete data. What are the data? How you collected your data analysis? What is the time plan? Every findings, you will put it in the fourth one. And the fifth one, you will talk about the discussion. What is the discussion of your findings, your conclusions? What are the recommendations that you can suggest for the future generation who are going to take up this same path of your research? Future work, what you wanted to do further through this research? What is the contribution? That you will do it in the chapter number 5. And the chapter number 6 is going to be the end chapter, which means you will be including all your references, which we can use the Zotero. We have used Zotero, and then bibliography and all your appendix and miscellaneous. So all these things comes up to the end of your thesis breakdown or the outline of your dissertation. So first thing what you're going to do is you're going to start off with a review of literature by finding a paper. So we talked about certain things that you have to know. These are some of the things that you have to know. After that, we were talking about how you can make your paper, introduction, theme 1 and theme 2. This is for review of literature. You need to do separately. And after you have your review of literature, keep it aside, start your research work in your laboratory, get all the experiments, research, everything done, and then start writing your research papers. Chapter 1 is introduction, chapter 2 is review of literature, whatever you have framed there, just put it over here. Theoretical framework, your data, what is your conclusion, and finally the end with references, bibliography, appendix, and miscellaneous. So this is all about how you can actually organize your review of literature and how you can make searching research paper in a very faster way. The most crucial time for you is in the beginning. That's the most important thing, because you don't know what paper to choose. So if you know that, you will finish off with your review of literature. And then you can start your experiments and then you can start writing your thesis. So I believe that this video is helpful for all of you who are really, really passionate enough to start your research but do not know how do you want it to start this research by collecting papers. Then I believe this video will be definitely helpful for all of you. So if you have any comments or any kind of questions regarding this one, you're always welcome to put your questions in the comment section, and we're going to look into it and we'll come up with some more videos for you if you're going to have some sort of questions which is addressing accessible. So thank you all of you for your time, and I'm going to meet you back again with another video. Thank you all of you.